Welcome back to our third video in our series about internships. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to make the most of your internship experience. And to learn more about that topic, we're going to join Gary as he has a conversation with an employer who works in graphic design and hires graphic design interns. At the very end of the video, we'll be sure to kind of provide some final wrap-up tips that'll span across all the videos that we've had in this series. So be sure to check out that at the very end. But to kick things off, let's jump into that conversation with Gary.
What advice do you have for students to get the most out of their internship experience?
Well, one of the things, how I like to look at our internship at Kendall Hunt in the design department is I kind of view it as this symbiotic relationship. It's not a situation where they're just there to help us and that's it. Of course, yes, they are there to help us because it's our busy time and we very much need the help, but it's also a great opportunity for them. They can, during, let's say 4 months with us, they can kind of have some pieces that they can add to their portfolio. And I even tell interns at the end of their internship, hey, keep track of a few pieces that you feel really strongly about, and I will actually order a physical copy of the printed book. And they absolutely love that. And then I say, hey, if you go in for an interview, bring in the physical book. I love it when I'm looking at a portfolio and they actually, let's say they did a t-shirt design. I love it when they bring in the actual t-shirt. Not everything always has to be in a binder or a portfolio where they're just flipping through pages. I love to see like a tangible item sometimes. So yeah, they get to build their portfolio. I see them grow. They walk away with not only more knowledge, I think, of the software and the programs, but they've had now this real world experience. So again, it's to benefit us as the employer, but it also very much benefits them. So it's a win-win.
Have you ever had an intern that you knew you had no space, but you were helpful to them in finding a role elsewhere?
Yes, absolutely. I can think of several that I almost wished I could have expanded my department just for them because they were seriously that good. And they were one of these people. I remember telling my boss at the time, it's like I was almost jealous thinking that they were going to go to another company because they were so valuable, and they were just and I remember even saying to those individuals, of course, I always say to them too, you can use me as a reference, but I remember saying, like, whoever obtains you is going to be so lucky to have you. And so, yes, there's a couple times where I've actually gone to my boss and talked to HR, and they actually ended up working in different positions because at Kendall Hunt, we have a lot of like sister companies. So we have Great River Learning, which does a lot of web stuff. And then we also have a K-12 department, and they have designers for that. So even though, I always say, like, even though I really wanted to keep these people myself, they can still go into these other areas or marketing. We have various marketing departments that within those marketing departments, there are creative roles for them where they do get to do design and that kind of thing. And so in my mind, I'm thinking this person sort of, even though they're working in the design department under higher ed, they've still gotten an understanding overall of sort of like the company and the company culture and sort of how projects move through, and they get a better understanding too of how these other departments sort of relate to us and how we're all kind of working together. So I think even though they were just with me for 3 months, they're still much more valuable now to the company because they've worked within the building and they sort of understand things better than somebody just coming in off the street. And it's always a feel good too, because it's like, hey, they kind of started in my area. And of course it's like in my mind, I don't want to lose them. Even if I'm losing them through, my department, it's like, I still would rather have them be part of our company than have them go to another company. And, that's just the selfish part of me.
Well, not only selfish of you, but certainly your company, I'm sure, appreciates that too, right?
Yes, they do.
Because you've developed a resource.
Yeah, and actually a few of them are actually still there, and it's funny because sometimes I even forget that. I'm like, oh, they'll remind me, like, yeah, I got my start, working for you as an intern. So yeah,
that's always cool to see where they are now, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, advice for students who have completed an internship at your organization. What would you tell them uh, if they're thinking about, I really had a great internship with you, Suzanne. Uh, how do I make this? How do I turn this into a career?
If they wanted to stay within our company, or you mean just kind of in
Yeah,
general?
just in general. What would you encourage them to do after the fact?
Well, what's funny is I've had a couple interns that I remember. The one, she really wanted to leave Dubuque, and I could tell like her family kind of didn't want her to leave Dubuque, and she's like, what would you do? And of course I'm like, I say, if go, like,
Yeah.
again, it's not like my child, so it's like it's easier for me to just tell them to go do that. But I remember saying to this one individual, she kind of wanted to go to Madison or Chicago area, and I told her, I said, if I were you, I would go. You're not signing some contract where you can never come back. I mean, go have the experience, and then, if it's not for you or if it's not a good fit, then come back. But I kind of like to see people spread their wings and kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've had other interns where they're like, I've been born and raised in Dubuque. My family's here. I'm not leaving. And that's fine too. You know what I mean? It's like whatever fits them best. But I always just tell them too, and I hope that I always see them gain more confidence at my internship. I see it. I hope that they feel that way when they
Mm-hmm.
leave, that they have more confidence. So in my mind, it's like, I think sometimes there's a fear on their part, like, well, I want to apply for this position, but I don't think I'm good enough, or I don't think I'm strong enough. And always say this, and I have an adult son, and I have said this to him as well. Apply. You have nothing to lose. To apply. And if anything, applying and having an interview, it's experience. That's experience in itself. Just having an interview and being able to talk about yourself and talk about your work is so important. So it's like, maybe not every interview is for you or you don't get the job, but I still say apply to as many positions as you can. I don't think that you have anything to lose by doing that.
So that concludes today's video and conversation about how to make the most of your internship experience. Be sure to check out our first two videos on what is an internship and why they're important, but also things that you can do to best prepare yourself for those internship applications. Overall, when I think about internships, again, they're a wonderful way to learn more about the fields that you all are interested in. To best prepare yourself for that application process, give yourself as much time as you can to work on your documents, whether that's a creative resume or a portfolio or cover letters, or even just getting comfortable with these job search websites. Give yourself enough time to do those things. And at any point throughout this process, if you have questions about what you should be doing or where can you look to find help, you can always contact the Pomerantz Career Center and set up an appointment with a career advisor. Our job, we're here to help. So feel free to utilize all the resources that we have available, not only through our appointments, but also some of the information and resources that we have on our web pages. Once you do land that internship, try to soak up as much as you can. Try to learn as much as you can. Try to meet as many people as you can, because you never really know when that internship experience can turn into that full-time position. So again, that wraps up our series on internships. If you all have more questions, feel free to connect with the Career Center or any individual that you saw in these video series. We're all here to help. So have a great rest of your day, and go Hawks. Bye, everyone.